Hello and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for the people who has joined. Today's webinar topic is Introduction to Salesforce Lighting Experience. We will wait a couple of minutes to see if anyone else is going to join. Thank you and I appreciate your patience. So please expect a couple of minutes and we will wait. We will start just shortly. Thank you so much. Okay, just to remind you, this webinar is going to be recorded as well on the YouTube channel. So if you miss a part or if you want to rewind just to check a couple of things, you may have the option by just going to our YouTube channel, browsing and check for the latest video, and it will be there. So just for in case you want to go back to the record. All right, so let's start. As you may know, since Winter 20, the latest update from Salesforce, we were forced to use Lighting Experience. In the past, Lighting Experience was only an option, only if you wanted to turn it on. But right now, all the brand new Salesforce customers and Remedyforce customers are starting with Lighting Experience. For those who are already familiar with Lighting, you may recognize this small switch to Lighting Experience link at the top of the Remedyforce application logo. Um, and this will basically switch to the Lighting UI. But as of now, if you remember in the past, we used to have this Lighting Experience Transition Assistant, right? So if we try to enable Lighting Experience for all of your users, this is where we're supposed to go. So if we check right now, something that has changed for this particular update is that the turn on Lighting Experience button is already on and it's disabled. So you cannot move back or just remove the option for Lighting Experience. What does this mean? It means that all your users may have the option to move from Lighting Experience to Salesforce Classic. Well, this is Salesforce Classic. I'm sorry. So this is the it's gonna be the old UI from now, but you're gonna find it as Salesforce Classic on documents and stuff like that. So what are the difference? Huge difference, or the main difference is the layout of the tabs. Uh, as you remember, the tabs were placed right here in the top bar, and you had the option for all the tabs when you click the plus sign, right? And also there was a drop down here to see the rest of your tabs. This drop down is only available when your monitor size um, it's not enough to pull all these tabs in. Okay, so and if we go to lighting, here's a lighting experience. We're gonna see a total different layout. The tabs are gonna be in the same place. The only difference is that all the icons from all the tabs are gonna be placed on the top left corner, like this one. And we still have the drop down, but in this case, it's gonna call more, and that shows the rest of your tabs available. Um, Another difference between Lighting and Salesforce Classic is that to change between applications, you gotta go to this small drop down and you will see the rest of your applications. This will vary but depending on the amount of applications you may have. Remember, Salesforce, it's a cloud that has multiple apps can be installed on it. So that this will depend on your organization, right? So now go back to Lighting. Lighting has the app launcher. That's what they call these 9 buttons right here, small dots, I'm sorry. And if you click on those, you will have the list of all your applications, but also with a search bar where you can search for, let's search for Remedyforce. And that's it. If you click on that, you're gonna launch the Remedyforce application. Okay, well that's the main changes there. We still have this search, the Salesforce search in here, uh, and in the classic one, it was on this particular bar, while on this on lighting, it's already here. It's a huge search box right here. Okay, the other main difference is that for administrators, the setup menu on classic was located at the top right corner, and it looked like this. As you remember, this is the Salesforce classic setup menu. If we change to lighting, the setup menu will be located on a small gear right here. And if you click on the gear, you're gonna see the setup, and it's gonna open the setup on another tab, another browser tab. And as you can see, it's the layout is similar. We have the most recently used items still here. We still have the great quick find box in here, so you can simply search for an option on the setup menu. And now we have something totally different. In the classic version, you used to search for objects or on the quick find just like this. And if you go under create objects, you will see the list of objects that have been installed on your Salesforce. The blue ones with a blue arrow, I'm sorry, those are installed on a managed package. In this case, these are coming from our BMC Remedyforce package. Okay, so now let's go back to the lighting one. Lighting has introduced something called Object Manager. And if we go to the Object Manager, you will see it's the same thing as the Objects tab or the Objects section on the classic one. And you may have the list of the object installed, but also you have right here a search box where you can search for a specific object, like the incident object. And from here you can create a new custom object. You can also go to the schema builder to see relationships and between the custom objects and stuff. This is something that was also available in Classic. But anyway, those are the main difference. So for those that don't know exactly how to change between lighting and Classic, um, you may have, if you're still in Classic, and you may have this link right here, switch to lighting experience, right? So this is a brand new Remedyforce. Nothing has been installed on it. It doesn't have any customizations. So for those who are brand new customers, the switch to lighting will be automatically active. And for those who still on Classic, switch to lighting will be here. So if we click on switch to lighting, it's gonna pull us directly into the uh, Remedyforce lighting applications. So go back to, let me go back to Classic. There is a couple of prerequisites to install lighting experience. Um, for those who are on Classic and still not able to go to lighting. The only prerequisite from the Classic version is that you must have a My Domain installed. Uh, since this is a new Remedyforce, my domain is already deployed for me. But for those who are all customers and don't have my domain, you need to go and set up a my domain. Um, so you must go to the setup menu. I'm gonna repeat those steps for you. Go to the setup menu, and on the quick find search box, let's type my domain. Just click on it, and here's a small step-by-step wizard and the steps we must follow. And as you can see right now, I don't have, you may see something really, really similar. You may have only a box to choose a name. This name was automatically generated by the system, but for you, you will have the option to choose a my domain. It will be something like whatever you choose dot my dot salesforce.com, and that will be your my domain. After you have enabled or selected a my domain, you can go ahead and now switch to Lighting Experience. If you struggle with something in here, you can also contact us directly to Remedyforce support, and we will help you to migrate your users to Lighting Experience. Okay, so what are the parts of Remedyforce that are fully compatible with Lighting Experience? We will see in a bit. Let me switch back to the Remedyforce application. Well, all the main components of Remedyforce, like Remedyforce console, Remedyforce CNDB, knowledge articles, Remedyforce self-service, Remedyforce mobile, are fully compatible with Lighting Experience. If you face an error where when you click on the Remedyforce console, the page is going blank, let's see if this is the case. Well, if you face a problem where the Remedyforce console is going to a blank white screen, there must be a problem with a custom setting, custom security setting on Salesforce. And to resolve that, let's go to the setup menu. And on the quick find search box, let's type session and click under security session settings. And let's identify these two protections. Enable click-jack protection for customer Resolve pages with standard headers and with standard headers disabled. These two must be disabled in order to the Remedyforce console and other main components to work. You may ask, what is this protection for? A click-jack protection, it's an extra protection from Salesforce to ensure no one tries to make your staff to click on a button that they shouldn't be click on it. Um, they do this only for Visualforce pages, and we disable this for Visualforce pages because it causes that the Remedyforce console doesn't load properly. However, you will be protected on the standard Salesforce setup pages and non-setup pages. This only affects Visualforce pages like the Remedyforce console, the Remedyforce CNDB, and the self-service. All right, so after you have unchecked those checkboxes, you go back to the Remedyforce console, refresh it, and the white screen should go on. Okay, so for now we have pretty much the lighting. It's something really similar in terms of the Remedyforce experience. As you can see, the console looks pretty much the same as on Classic. And if you go to Remedyforce CNDB just to verify it loads correctly. By the way, if you have any question during the webinar, feel free to put your questions on the chat. I will be answering all your questions during the webinar as well. Also, for those who are starting to join the webinar, you can see the recording version on the YouTube channel after the session has ended. Thank you. All right, so if we can see the remedy for CNDB, it's exactly the same thing as on Classic, and it will be the same for the self-service. So the experience in terms of remedy force, it hasn't changed. So you don't have to train your people or your staff or your end user, your clients to use a new interface, right? So you're just gonna see something real different um, in terms of the layout of the tabs and stuff. Let me go this thing. Um, but that's it pretty much. So let's see what are the benefits of lighting. There are multiple people that like lighting because of um, their customization for the homepage, for the record pages. There's a huge change on the homepage. The Salesforce team really focused on this, and they started to take a lot of attention to the homepage. So now you can create components, drag and drop components, modify the layout of the homepage, add a dashboard that looks friendlier than classic like this one. And this is totally customizable. So we're gonna see in a bit how to customize this and what are the out of the box components that we offer for Remedyforce. So let's go to the setup menu. Once again, let me close this. And imagine that we would like just to modify our homepage to make it better, or just to have an additional an additional list in here or buttons. Let's see how to make that. So from our quick find, let's go to App Builder. Let's go to App Builder and choose Lighting App Builder and click on New. So we're gonna create a home page for our Remedyforce users. So we're gonna choose home page and click on the next button and choose a label. So I'm gonna choose Remedyforce home page. Yeah. And there are two types of standard layouts. So the first one is a header with three columns or three regions. And the other one was something similar to the one we saw. It's a standard homepage with three uh, three regions and one sidebar at the right side. So I'm gonna choose this one and I'm gonna click finish, but you can choose whatever you want, or whatever it suits you better. So now as you can see, we have on the left side we have the components. On the middle side we have the layout of the components and how they're gonna look like. And on the right side we have the properties for the component we have selected. I know this may look like a lot of info being displayed on the monitor right now, but it's now that when you get used to it, it's gonna be really simple. So there are two type of components. Standard components, which these are Salesforce components. We have from items to approve. We can select a dashboard to visualize the dashboard. We can also see recent items from your own account, as well recent records, recommendations. If you are using Salesforce calendars, you can display today's events, or if you're using Salesforce tasks, you can display today's tasks. From Remedyforce, we have created three main components, which are the self-help articles, which is the same info that it's being displayed on the Remedy for Sales service is going to be displayed in here. Also, we have service requests, which contains a list of service requests that you can choose from many categories. And also, we have created a button. This is a button to submit a ticket. It works the same way as the sales service. So let's use these three. And I'm going to put self-help articles in this section. And I'm going to drag and drop service requests in this section. And I'm going to drag and drop this submit a ticket button right here. So as you can see, we have a live preview of the components and how they're being rendered. And if we select a component, example, I'm gonna select the self-help articles. You can choose a title, like knowledge base. I'm gonna use that one. And if you see, you have a couple of options here. One is a category. Remember that the knowledge articles have a category, so we can choose between which category we like to show on the component, which articles to filter. Example, if I want to see only FAQs, just filter by FAQ and I just get three articles, right? If I choose applications, it's gonna be different. I just have one. If I choose none, then it's gonna render all the categories. Also, you have the possibility of choosing the number of records to display. So if you choose 10 or 5, it's going to display only those articles. Additional to that, you can use custom filters. Um, I don't recommend to use these filters because these filters works based on the user permissions or user profiles. In case you want to show some articles for a specific Remedyforce administrator or staff or stuff like that. I don't recommend this one. If you want to filter, do it by category. And if you want to display multiple knowledge base or multiple categories, I'm going to show you how to do that. But let's then continue to the next component, which is the service request. Service request is the same thing. I'm going to choose a title for this. And as well, you can choose between categories. I'm going to select none and I'm going to keep it like that. I don't have many service requests created on this Remedyforce. It's a brand new one. And for the third one, this is a simple button to create a ticket, but you have the option to select a template, right? So if example, if this is gonna grab the same layout from the self-service and from the submitted ticket option for your clients, and from here you can select a template to automatically populate some fields. Um, all right, so I'm not going to take any templates, so I would like to the end user to introduce all the data. And well, we have another section left here. So what else can we drag and drop? Let's see. What if we drop a dashboard component? So right now it has grabbed the company performance dashboard. That is a Salesforce dashboard. So I'm gonna change that for the Remedyforce survey dashboard, which shows the satisfaction of support or performance of the service the support based on the service responses. Since I don't have any service responses on this brand new Remedyforce, it doesn't show any data. So I'm gonna grab the SLA incident service request dashboard. That is as well a standard out of the box dashboard. And you can choose the max height right here. It's on pixels, so you probably can choose 500 pixels. This is gonna depend on your the size of your monitor. In this case, I'm working with a small one. So let's see, I'm gonna choose 1,000. If you don't choose any, it's gonna be rendering the entire the entire dashboard. As you can see, if you choose a max height to 1,000 example, you're gonna see a small sidebar inside the component, so you can um, just drop down or scroll down. I'm sorry. So I'm not gonna choose a max height. I'm gonna leave it just visible. I'm gonna save our home page, and it's gonna tell us that it's already being saved, but it's not active. So let's go and activate it. Okay, so from here we have three options for activating this home page. We can activate it by default on the entire organization, on the entire Salesforce uh, cloud. That means that if you have multiple teams like sales, marketing, or anything else, they will see as well this homepage. I don't recommend you that when you have multiple teams. However, if your Salesforce is only being used by Remedyforce, that this is a good option. Then you can select a default application. So example, remember that Salesforce has applications which are a set of tabs, and we have a Remedyforce application as well. If you have multiple applications installed on your Salesforce, I recommend you go for this option. Finally, there's another one, and that can be assigned to applications, but also to search and profiles, right? So, example, on Remedyforce, we have two main profiles, which is the service desk staff and the service desk clients. So probably this homepage, it's not meant to be used by clients, right? So it's more like to be used by administrators or by staff people. So if you want to segregate them by application, but also based on the profile, this is the option we must follow. So you gotta just click on this button, and it will take you directly to the place you're gonna select the application and the profiles, and the same for the rest of them. For this demo, I'm gonna use this one assigned to org as default, and I'm gonna click save, and let's go and refresh. Remember, this was our previous home page. And as you can see, the new home page is already here. We have our dashboard here. Remember that dashboards must be refreshed. Normally, they are being refreshed the first time you load the screen. But if you want to refresh it again, just click on the refresh button. So we can see the refresh has been changed, 9:30 a.m. And we can see the entire SLA dashboard as we selected. And if we scroll down, we see the components for Remedyforce. So what are those components for? It's if you click submit a ticket, it will open the form to submit a ticket from the sales service, something similar like the sales service. But you can do it from here. You can select a category. It's going to choose hardware. Or let me see what categories you have available. I'm going to choose facilities. Requesting a new ticket from homepage. I can add attachments to it. So the same options you have from the sales service are going to be here. You will see that this is going to take a couple of seconds. This is this is a demo Remedyforce. It's not a finished one, or it's a trail one. So it's gonna for sure gonna be different the amount of time it takes for rendering for you. Okay, so that is the submitted ticket component. The service request is the same thing. The only difference is that it's going to be rendering the layout for the service request. I got the mail of the ticket that has been created from the home page, as you can see. And well, this is the service request. This is a service request for a new server. So as you can see here, I have the options, or I have the form that you have pre-configured on the request definition for this service request. If I met all the required fields, I can just go ahead and click on submit. And there you go. We have submitted a service request from the home page. We're not even at the Remedyforce console. We are not on the self-service. We're using the lighting components for Remedyforce in the home page. Same thing for the knowledge base. If I click on a specific knowledge article, it's going to render the knowledge article. And here we got the all the tasks that have been created by the service request, as you can see. There you go. Well, this is an example of a knowledge article and how it's being rendered. And that's it. Finally, I just want to show you something. Um, so you can see this submit a ticket button. It's pretty much alone by itself there. So I'm gonna use an extra component here. First, let me remove this component and this one as well. And I'm gonna take this accordion. As you can see, there are only one, two, three, and four sections, or four main sections. And if I try to add a different component, let's see, if I try to add service request to the same place where the knowledge base is, I can just drag it and drop it, and that's it. So you can utilize the same spot uh, for multiple components. As far as I know, the limit is going to be like 20 components, but you can use as well another type of component to store different ones. Example, the accordion component. I'm gonna change the name here because as you can see, it shows chatter and a drop down and dashboard and another drop down, right? But I want to show here service request or submit a ticket button, and on the next section, the service request one. So I can save uh, a lot of space in there, right? So how do we change the name? We select the chatter one, we click on this one on the section label, and we choose a custom one. Then submit a ticket. All right, so we do the same for the dashboard one. Custom label service, submit a service request. I'm gonna drag submit a ticket one, put it over there. Then just drag service request one, put here. And now I have a free space, and um, I'm gonna use reason items and items to approve. And I'm gonna remove this one from here. I'm gonna change number of items to display to 10. And there you go. Let's just save it. And let's see if the changes have been reflected correctly. Okay, we have our dashboard. And if we scroll down, we have our submit a ticket. The recent items, well, I haven't opened any item on this Remedyforce. And the items to approve. If I am the approver of for a service request or a incident or change request or anything like that, I will see it here. I have the submit a ticket button, but if I click on the drop down for submit a service request, I get the service request as well. Let's make this, like say that's 500, save it, refresh this page. And okay, yeah. Well, you can choose a different layout, totally different than mine. This is only just an example, a sample one. But if you don't want to see a dashboard, you can just remove the dashboard and leave only the main components. You can start playing with this. There are many options. Uh, we also recommend you that before deploying everything into your production, test it first in a sandbox. Light and experience and the same options are totally available on your sandbox, and the steps to enable light and experience is going to be the same thing as your production. So before you keep playing with these changes and deploying, uh, please test it first on a sandbox. Okay. Finally, well, let me see the chat if there's any questions on the chat. Nope. I'm gonna just. All right. Okay. Well, finally, I just want to show you, in case you have single sign-on enable, how to make people land on the self-service if you have light and experience enable. I'm gonna rewind a little bit here, and I'm gonna switch to Salesforce Classic. Okay, gonna go to the setup, and I'm gonna go to apps and create apps. If you remember on Salesforce Classic, and if you have single sign-on enabled for your Salesforce and Remedyforce, you will remember that you have two applications for Remedyforce. One, it's the standard one, the BMC Helix Remedyforce one, and the other one is the BMC Cell Service. What are those two apps for, or what is the meaning or having to? Let's check them both. Okay, so the first one, this is a standard one. Obviously has my own logo, the standard logo, but you can replace this by your company's logo. And these are the tabs that are available. And if I click on the edit button, I will see which profiles have access to this application, which contains these tabs, right? As you can see, the client one, your end user one, does not have access to this one. And that is because for the client ones, we want them to land on the cell service, right? Oh, here's a small mistake. Chatter. We just want them to have the home and the cell service and the default landing tab as the cell service, right? Normally, this setup will continue to work on Lighting experience. So it will be the same thing. I don't expect you to have any problem if you continue to using these classic apps. However, if you're a brand new customer or if you going to start using single sign-on and you don't have these applications created, there's a simple way to create them directly on Lighting. Let's go to the setup menu and go to app builder again, lighting app builder. Click on the new button. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna do it from the Remedyforce where I already have those apps created. Okay. So setup menu, app builder, new, and okay. From here we're gonna choose app page. Okay. So click on next and choose a label. So this is gonna be BMC Remedyforce. And you can customize this the best way you want to look, right? So if you want to have the sidebar at the left side, you can choose it the left side. And here it's going to be shown how it's going to look like on the different devices you may have, like a desktop, a tablet, horizontal side, vertical side, and a phone. Okay, so I'm going to choose the default one. And you can do the same thing we did, like just choosing the main components you want to show in there. I'm sorry for that. And just I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna drag dashboards. You can change the icon as well from here. And you can select from your applications which app is going to use this homepage. Example, this test one only contains the Remedyforce self-service, which is meant to be used by the client once. And that's it, pretty much. So remember, in case you have single sign-on enabled, and you want the clients to drop on the self-service, you must have created those applications only for the client profile. I'm gonna switch to classic. Gonna go to the setup, go to apps again, the create apps, these two applications. You can create them either from classic or from lighting, whatever you feel comfortable. From classic, it's a little bit simpler. If you click on the new, you can select only self-service. I'm gonna use this one. Click on next, select a logo. I'm gonna leave it the default one and select the applications. I mean the tabs. So I'm gonna look for Remedyforce self-service. Remedyforce home. sorry, I was missing that one. And well, we only want them to see the self-service and the homepage. Unfortunately, we cannot remove it, but we can make it the default one, the self-service. We click on next, and here we select which profiles can see the application. So I'm going to choose the client one, so it's going to be visible and default, and save it. And that is going to take your end users to the Remedyforce self-service, either on Lighting or on Remedyforce on Salesforce Classic. I'm sorry. All right. Well, just as a recap, remember Salesforce Lighting experience a different UI for Salesforce setup and from Salesforce main layout of tabs and applications. Uh, but in terms of the main components for Remedyforce, as the Remedyforce administration, the workspaces, the CMDB dashboards, and self-service, it remains exactly the same layout. So you don't have to train your users to using as a different way only for enabling lighting experience, as you can see. So that it's a good thing. You don't need to retrain your entire staff to use Remedyforce. However, for administrators can be very different uh, to manage. And well, for any users, it's gonna be look like simpler and cleaner, but still we recommend you to test it first on a sandbox and before you move anything to production. Finally, I just want to leave you with some documentation, with some official documentation that contains additional info about the limitations of lighting and how to enable them. So I'm gonna put that on the chat if you wanna take a look later. Let me go to the chat in here. Yep. So that link will take you directly to the documentation on how to uh, enable the lighting experience for the end users, which are the steps you need to follow. Um, it's pretty much the same thing we have done here. If you have any question, feel free to ask or feel free to reach us at Remedy for support. Um, and finally, I just want to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay tuned to our next videos. If you haven't subscribed or if you haven't seen the channel, go ahead and take a look. We have multiple tutorials and multiple videos on how to achieve some customizations or some out of the box features for Remedyforce and for Salesforce topics. I do appreciate your. Yes, Roberto is asking, will this video will be available for later refresh? Uh, yes, Roberto, the video will be available on recording on the YouTube channel or with the same link for this webinar. That is going to be the link for the video. So just save the link on a um, on a favorite one or on a safe place, and just go ahead and come back later with the same link just to recap the video. Don't worry. I know lighting can be very very different from classic, but take it as an optional thing for your end users and for your staff people. I recommend to start playing with it. And if you decide that you liked it or if you want to put it in place, you can follow this video. Or if you struggle with something, don't hesitate to reach us, and we can definitely help you with implementing lighting or with any trouble you may have with Remedyforce on Lighting or on Classic. Thank you so much for joining, for those who would stay tuned and on the live webinar. And thank you so much for taking a look at this video. We do this to make smoother the transition from Classic to Lighting and to help you in anything we can. Finally, my name is Ramiro Torres. I'm from the BMC Remedyforce support team. And don't hesitate to reach us back. Thank you so much for your attention. Hope you have an excellent day.